Commissioner Lehman.
Thank you. Mr. Mayor, there is no question that that your leadership and your firm grip and presence in your movable command post made a huge difference on that day. There was no question to the world that the captain was on the bridge. But there is a tradition in the Navy learned over centuries that sometimes the captain's not on the bridge, and that there has to be a clear and unambiguous succession of command authority in the event the captain is ashore when the attack comes, or the captain is killed in the event, and particularly when there are multiple crises around a battle or a ship. And one of the problems that our staff and we see in the new incident command system that has just been promulgated on Friday, that it's really a formula for negotiation between strong and powerful and heroic agencies as to who's going to be in charge at the time. And I think Ray Kelly yesterday explained it very well, that this is a system based on a very strong mayoral system. And in a way, it's modeled on you being on the bridge. We have a very strong mayor now. There have been times in the past, in fact, frequent times, when we have not had very strong mayors. And we've had many cities around the country do not have a strong mayoral system, even if the incumbent is strong. But more importantly than that, below the mayor, there does not seem to be in a situation like we are trying to plan for. They're coming back, and they may and probably plan to do multiple events to maximize confusion and maximize casualties. The problem is, even with a strong captain on the bridge, this plan does not provide clear unity of command. It's a negotiating document. And I would like your personal view on whether it's not time, given the increased level of the threat from a very sophisticated enemy, that New York break from its long and successful tradition of working together with independent agencies to adopt a more clearly defined and unambiguous command and control system above. I'm not saying within, although there are issues there, some issues there, but much less strong. But among the agencies, Port Authority, Fire Department, and police.
First of all, I believe that Mayor Bloomberg and Commissioner Kelly and the commissioners you saw here yesterday, Commissioner Scopetter, Commissioner Bruno, have done a lot learning from the things that happened on September 11, 2001 to improve the readiness of the city. And in fact, I think they've done exceptionally good work in doing that. And I think this protocol matrix is an attempt to try to improve on the one that we did. Was it 2 or 3 years earlier? I've forgotten exactly when it was put out. But I went through so many drafts of that when I see it now, I can't remember which was the last draft and which it took us about 3 years to develop that. First of all, the line of authority is clear. The mayor is in charge. All of these agencies are mayoral agencies. In the same way that the President of the United States is commander-in-chief, the mayor is in charge. That's why people elect the mayor. So they get the choice of whether they get a strong captain or a weak captain or a lieutenant or whatever. The people get the choice of who they select. And maybe now, in the new era that we're in, this will be something that people think about, and when they make the choice. But at least they get the choice of who's in charge. There's a deputy mayor who succeeds the mayor immediately if the mayor is sick, injured, hurt, or missing. And that deputy mayor is designated. In my case, it was Joe Lota, who was there right at the scene. He was the second person to come up to me with the police commissioner at the time, and he was ready to take command if anything happened to me. And then there's a line of succession after that. So there's never any, and this was true not only of my administration, but of Mayor Dinkins' administration, Mayor Koch. And I think
suppose there were 3 other events simultaneously.
well, I mean, if there were 3 other events simultaneously, then you have the best police department in the country, usually with a police commissioner who's among the 3 or 4 very best police professionals in the country, because the New York City Police Department draws the best people. I mean, I never had trouble finding a really great police commissioner. The really problem I had was selecting between the 10 that wanted to be police commissioner.
Why shouldn't there be an automatic? This is my final. I'm from New York too, so. Why shouldn't there be a formula so that before that can be arbitrated, there's an automatic system for who's going to be in charge until a decision otherwise on the scene. I'm not talking about at the top, but on the scene of multiple incidents.
I think that because incidents are complex, that's why you need OEM, and that's why I created OEM.
But it doesn't have the authority. That's
yes, it does.
The problem.
It has to.
It can dictate who's going to be in charge.
Yes, it has the authority to decide who's in charge until the mayor gets there, and then I guess somebody could argue it. That never happened. The way the system was arranged, and I know my system better, but I think this one is very similar. Most emergencies have a department that's in charge. A typical criminal case, the police are in charge. A typical fire, the fire department's in charge. Where it gets complicated is, let's say, and I remember where this emerged. It emerged from the sarin gas attack that we simulated near the World Trade Center. And the question was, this was a political rally attacked by Islamic terrorists, sarin gas attack. 1,000 people down. And the question was, who's in charge? The terrorists were in the crowd, still releasing the sarin gas. Well, the police department's in charge, while it's still a criminal case, a terrorist case. Now the terrorists are arrested. They're now out, and now you've got 1,000 victims that have to be saved. The fire department's in charge. And OEM has to determine that decision. So if there were an attack in this building right now, if something happened in this building, and the terrorists were in this building, or we were being held hostage, or whatever, everybody would arrive. It would be clear that the police department was in charge. The chief of the police department would be outside, and he would be directing the situation. Once the terrorists or hostage takers were taken out, and this building became a rescue mission, we had all been injured with biological attack or chemical attack. Now the fire department would take over. And I saw several hundred of these, and they never proved to be a problem. One thing, I know you're a New Yorker, I'm a New Yorker. I'll tell you one thing, and you know this about New York, and Rick is, and they handle big things brilliantly. There was not a problem of coordination on September 11, 2001, because it was bigger than everybody involved in it. So nobody was asserting ego. The fire department should take over, the police department, the mayor should be in charge. Everyone sublimated their ego to how big it was. They're terrific at big emergencies. Where the problems occur that you've reported and found, it's in the smaller situations, where they have time to debate who's better, who's more effective. I come from a family of 4 uncles who were police officers, and 1 who was a firefighter. So I know this from the time I was 2 years old. And if it's a big emergency, they will all be in there helping each other and assisting each other. If it's an extraction from a car, they're going to race to get there because the police department feels they can do it better and the fire department feels they can do it better. And that's why you need an OEM, because you want to retain this tremendous pride, like the Marine Corps has, or like the FBI has. At the same time, you want to be able to use it correctly, and that's why you need, the only thing I would recommend, and I think the present mayor is doing this, I think Mayor Bloomberg is doing this, you've got to have a very strong OEM so that if Jerry Hauer, who's going to be here later, I had two OEM directors. One was Jerry Hauer, second one you saw yesterday, Richie Shearer. If they arrived at an emergency and there was any doubt, they had the authority to say, police department in charge, fire department in charge. I would usually arrive there, or my deputy mayor, if I was sick or wasn't around. And then if they had a problem with that, they could raise it with the deputy mayor, but he would always support the head of OEM. So I think that is the best way to handle it in New York.
Thank you.